Good evening and welcome back to a Celtic Stage of Mind. Just bringing Ryan in there. As you can see, we've been joined by Sean Conley and Kevin McCluskey, so we've got a full house. Lads, it's not too often that I think we're a bit conservative with our predictions early in the match, but both me and Ryan went for 4-0, but two goals, and I went for 2 goals in the first half. I think Ryan, you went for 1. I think we should have been a bit more optimistic. That's been excellent. Sean, thanks for joining. We'll start with you. What's your impressions of the first half?
We've had a good tempo. It's been a good game. I've enjoyed watching it, to be honest. St Johnstone did what most Scottish teams do against us and set up to defend. But look, we've showed dynamism and imagination. Whatever they've set up, we've showed the counter to that. We've put balls in behind where we need to put balls in behind. We've played 1-2s down the line, triangles where we had to play 1-2s and triangles down the line. We're showing that we know how to break down these triangles, and St Johnstone are showing that, like every other Scottish team, they don't know how to deal with this. And I am very content. Scoreline aside, even when it was still 0-0, 1-0, I'm content with how we're playing. I'm happy with how we're playing. We've showed good tempo, good insight, good intelligence, good imagination, good desire. I'm happy with how the game's gone so far.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I think I just looked at my notes here, and I said around about the 18-minute mark, 20-minute mark, I said it's very, very one-sided. We're very, very dominant. Without, again, maybe having scored at that point, I thought we were really, really dominant. A couple of things that I noted. I thought Kuhn having a really good game. He did one of the tricks that I seen him do last year, which I was really impressed with, where he cuts inside and then he crosses into the box, over the top of Kyogo. Kyogo was unlucky to go on it. It was about 13 minutes. He had another chance in 16 minutes where, again, Kyogo's movement was good. And I thought Kuhn was a little bit unlucky in the rebound. And one thing I want to point out is Engels has got some really good deliveries from set pieces, whether it be corners or free kicks. I have to say his delivery from set pieces has been excellent. But I think overall, Kyogo's movement has really been causing problems. He was unlucky, a couple of chances earlier in that first half, but he's got his rewards for his movement. An excellent goal, ball over the top, and an excellent header. Kevin, what's been your impression so far? Pleased with what you're seeing?
Yeah, very much so. Kind of like Sean, I've been really impressed with how we've been able to mix up our play for this game, because we will always kind of expect that the opponents are going to sit back and play that low block off space and make it really difficult for us to play through them. St Johnstone have done that for the most part, but anytime they've stepped up, we've been able to put a ball over the top. When they have sat deep, we've been trying to play little triangles, and we've been very patient, I think, in our build-up play and trying to break them down. So I'll echo pretty much what Sean said on that. And also, when the score was 0-0 and when it was 1-0, I was really relaxed and comfortable with how we were playing, because we were very much in control of that opening 45 minutes. It was only a matter of time before we were going to get the second and then the third, and that's just how it turned out. It's been a really enjoyable first half. For Kyogo, just since you were talking about him there, I kind of fell into the trap a little bit of having read up that start before the game. Was it 11 months since his last away goal in the league?
Shy.
Back to October last year.
Yeah. Over 11 months in the league. Just shy of 11 months overall.
Just shy of 11 overall. There we go. So he had kind of fallen into that trap, and he'd missed a couple of chances, the one that you've mentioned there, Chris. And you're just thinking again, like, is it his day? Do we maybe need to bring Ida in for the away games? Is he the striker for the away games, like the first choice striker for the away games? You can just never count Kyogo out, though, can you? Because that's him popped up and got 2 brilliant goals in that half. That's what he delivers to you, or that's what he can bring to you. He's such a top player, you just can't write him off.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think it's the movement for me was really impressive today. I think the chances that he missed early on, they weren't quite as guilty-edged as we've seen him miss a couple earlier this season. These were chances he created almost by virtue of his movement. Whereas when the chance came that he really had to take, I think he did excellently. Both goals, actually, the first goal and then the header. That's the kind of clinical element I want to see from Kyogo, and I think a great time to get it. And good start from, I think it was yourself, Sean, that said about the 11 months away. So good time to break it right before break that duck right before the European game. Ryan, one of the things we spoke about at the pre-match was actually the decision to drop Rio Hatate and bringing Bernardo on. And wow, that's paid dividends. I think he's been excellent. And what a goal. Not just the strike itself, but the build-up play was tremendous. The one-touch football. I mean, what did you make of that? Not just that, the overall performance.
I think he's been great. I think most, if not all, the players have been excellent today. I mean, no one's necessarily, lighting it up a lot. After that second goal, though, I just saw a little bit of swagger with the team. Back heels, back and forth, different types of back heels, and just pinging the ball around. Bernardo's been excellent. I think he's. I'm always really impressed in how well he is, especially as teams cross into our half. How much he kind of breaks up the play there and kind of gets us quickly back on the counterattack. But that goal was just excellent. I mean, the interplay in the box between the defenders. If you watch the angle from one of the angles that they showed for the replay, very deliberately we have the 3 forward players playing right on the halfway line to stretch out the defense. So once we break that press, get it to Johnstone, and he just puts it over the top, knowing he's got 3 fast players that could bring it in there. And a great finish. The other thing I've noticed, and you brought it up with Kuhn, because it's something he has in his game, and he must be a nightmare to mark when he's on his game, because if you come up against him, he'll beat you with pace, and if you sit back a bit, he'll cut inside and he'll float those balls in. I see Johnstone doing this. I've seen Bernardo, seen Engels. They've been a lot better about crossing the ball into the box and playing to the fact that we have 3 relatively short forward line players. They're not going to necessarily get their head on it, even though Kyogo did. But they're finding the space in between defenders. Kyogo's collecting it on his chest. He's collecting it at his feet and using those players to their strength. And it has to be something that they're working on in training. I know when Ange went to Tottenham that first season, I was just curious how he was going to take what he built at Celtic into that team. And they showed just a lot of training of getting to the byline and cutting in, which is how we saw Jota and Kyogo and other players score. But it seems like this is another way that we're trying to approach it, cutting inside and that kind of like inside channels and floating the ball in. It's just beautiful to see.
Absolutely. And I think you make a really good point there. Watching Celtic now, it looks like we're starting to play to each player's strengths. Kyogo, Maeda, Kuhn, they are working well. The link-up play, I think that triangle that Sean references, where you've got Engels, you've got Johnstone, you've got Kuhn, they are playing really, really well. It's almost like that triangle where they can just one touch, and their movement and anticipation is fantastic. Now, 3 great goals. It should have been 4, Sean, I think. I think you certainly, you always bring that insight into kind of refereeing and decision-making play. Talk us through that disallowed goal. Should it have been disallowed?
Just to caveat the perceived bias, I'm just going to say I don't understand why that Kyogo goal was given as onside. What is going on with VAR? Like the one we should have had against Lazarus, the one we should have had against Hearts, and now the one we should not have had against St Johnstone. I don't get it. I don't get this VAR offside thing. I don't get what they're doing. I don't get how it works. Somebody's going to have to explain the technology to me, because it doesn't make sense. So I'll say that. You're saying it should be 4. I'm saying it should be 3. But I'm saying the Kyogo one should not count. And I'm saying the Maeda one should count. Okay, now I'll explain why the Maeda one should count. This comes into my main issue with VAR that I thought we were getting much better with, which is don't re-referee a game. Now, what happens in this case is Maeda scores a left foot volley. Sensational, okay? And they've called it back because Graham Carey is lying on the ground in a heap because he has stepped in front of Austin Trusty and blocked Austin Trusty. Austin Trusty being the bigger player, Graham Carey is in a heap. Okay, so the only thing that qualifies that for a foul is if he has impeded an opponent. So if Austin Trusty has impeded an opponent, if somebody can tell me that Austin Trusty has impeded Graham Carey there, wow, okay, I don't know where you're getting that from. What happens there is Graham Carey has tried to put a block on and has absolutely come out worse off. I don't get why that is. I don't get why the referee has given. It's the sort of thing like, I'm honestly I'm at a loss to explain it. It's re-refereeing. It's the sort of thing where a referee misses it in a game. Fine, they miss it. but it's not even involved in play. I don't get why they've called that back. I don't get how that is relevant to that goal.
Yeah.
And I also don't get how it's a foul in any way, to be honest.
And you know, up to that point, and actually even beyond that decision, I don't think the referee's had a particularly bad game. I think he's not been too involved. I think he's booked Maeda for a striker's challenge. I think it's fair enough. I always prefer to get a warning before a booking, but I think it's fair enough. So Maeda will need to be careful. But the biggest tragedy is that was a tremendous goal. It was a tremendous goal, and it's chalked. Every time we get a goal unjustly chalked off. I mean, we'll go back to the Jota goal, fabulous goal that he scored. It always seems to be an absolute worldie. So yeah, it's a shame on that level. But thankfully, our performance, as to quote the old Johnstone, we're taking decisions out of the referee's hands through virtue of our own play, which is great. I'm going to bring up some of the comments, and then I'll come back to Kevin and Ryan. So Mount Cadath, VAR is a disgrace. I would hate that decision, even if it was at the other end. What a joke, ruining the game. The second point from Cadath, which is a good one, exactly what Kyogo needed before that Champions League clash. Yeah, 2 goals, absolutely, and hopefully maybe a wee hat-trick in the second half, possibly. Barry O'Sullivan comes in, absolutely shocking decision. Question, what is our player meant to do? Vanish, that's your point as well. Sean, Alan Muir on VAR has helped chop 3 Celtic goals off this season. Good start from George Robertson. Interesting one to watch. Frank Kennedy comes in. Kyogo took his goal well. St Johnstone defended well so far. He might have made that point before we'd got another two goals potentially. But yeah, I mean, I think they were pretty resolute. Again, very, very defensive in that first half. But I think we've been excellent at breaking them down. Michael Ross comes in and says, audio from the VAR room must be made public. Let's hear exactly what's said. I think that would open a few eyes. I don't think that one's gonna happen. CJ, geez, that second goal was stunning. Yes, it was. I think it wasn't even just such a really great strike. It was a dipping goal. It was fantastic. But the build-up play, the one-touch stuff, which was seen actually throughout that half, I think, certainly after the first goal, has been tremendous. Andy Logan comes in. This is a point I'll bring to you, Kev. Trusty looks much better today. When Carter Vickers is fit, Scales has to drop out. He's got 0 recovery pace. A double-edged point there, Kev. I mean, I agree with the point on Trusty. I think he's been excellent. Looks a bit of a unit, and looks like he's a player that's going to grow in confidence, more appearances. Not sure I agree with the point on Scales. I think Scales is, without being under too much pressure, I don't think he's done much wrong today. But what's your view on Trusty, first of all?
Yeah, I think Trusty's had a decent enough first half. Like Ryan said before, everyone's getting worst pass marks from that first 45 minutes. We're 3-0 up, we're coasting. So no doubts about that. I think he's looked decent. He does look a big unit of a lad. He looks like he can cover the ground quite well. His distribution's been all right. He's not really been put under much pressure, so it's not a game where you're going to actually really get his defensive qualities tested so much. But 9 out of 10 things he's had to do in that first half, he did them pretty well. Would I put him in the team ahead of Scales when Carter Vickers is back? Not at the moment, nope. Scales hasn't done anything to merit not being in the team. And I think that's where you make the change. I am one of those people that has said many times on this show, we need to replace Liam Scales because he's not at the level that we need a player to be. But he hasn't really done anything to be dropped from the team. So until he does that, the jersey's his, in my opinion. Trusty can come in and be a very reliable third choice centre back, but he's not quite there at the moment, I don't think, to take the jersey from Scales.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, at the start of the match, you outlined that we could be in line for the clean sheet record. I think if we keep another clean sheet today, and Scales deserves credit for the part he's played in that. Absolutely. There was an incident, I think, happened around the 40th minute. It looked as though Greg Taylor was complaining about something. Don't know if it was a missile thrown on. Sean's just given me an indication that the match is starting, I think. So we'll try and wrap this up very quickly. But just one last point I want to make is this an example again of Scottish football self-harming? Because the home crowd is just non-existent. I'm amazed if there's a missile being thrown on because there's not enough fans there to throw a missile, let alone beyond there. I know there's reasons why they want to cut the allocation, but surely this is sabotaging the spectacle of Scottish football, Ryan, right?
I mean, I'll just speak from my perspective, and then we'll go back to the game. As I'm watching from the US, this is, it's inconsistent which games are picked for broadcast. This is a game that's broadcast on one of the streaming services, and the first thing you see is a completely empty pitch. So a good thing is the most of the play has been in their box, so you at least see the Celtic supporters full in the back and singing their songs. But I mean, it's just shocking. There's something that has to be done if you are the head of the SFA and you're watching, and this is the product you're putting out there, and that's what you see. You're not doing something right, and it needs to change.
Absolutely. No, couldn't agree more. Guys, thank you very much. I believe the game has kicked off now, so we'll wrap it up there. But a really, really good first half. Hopefully more goals in the second half. I can see Danielle has put a point on there, just say Baye is on, so thanks for that, Danielle.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we can do in the second half. Hopefully our predictions are wrong and we actually get even more goals in the second half.
We'd love it.
Hope everyone enjoys the game, and we'll see you here at full time. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So cheers, lads.